The gala at the historic waterfront hotel had drawn some of the most decorated names in the United States Navy. Dress uniforms shimmered beneath crystal chandeliers, metals catching the light as a live band played softly in the background. Waiters moved carefully through clusters of officers, politicians, and honored guests. No one noticed the janitor in the corner, at least not at first. Daniel Reyes preferred it that way. A single dad to an 8-year-old daughter, Daniel worked the evening shift to make sure he could walk her to school every morning. He wore a simple maintenance uniform, his name stitched over his heart. While admirals and captains shared stories of deployments and strategy, Daniel quietly replaced trash liners and wiped down tables, offering polite nods and respectful smiles. It had been a long week. His daughter, Sophia, had the flu. He'd barely slept, staying up to cool her forehead and whisper promises that everything would be okay. Yet here he was, pushing through exhaustion because missing a shift wasn't an option. The event stretched past midnight. Speeches ran long. Applause echoed. One by one, guests began drifting out, leaving behind half-finished drinks and tired conversations. Near the back of the ballroom sat Admiral Margaret Harlow, a 4-star officer known for her sharp mind and unshakable discipline. She had commanded carrier strike groups and negotiated high-stakes operations overseas. Tonight, though, fatigue lined her face. The relentless pace of leadership rarely allowed for rest. Daniel noticed her sitting alone as he worked his way along the final row of tables. Her posture was upright, but her eyes fluttered closed for just a moment too long. He hesitated, unsure whether to approach. Admirals weren't accustomed to being interrupted, especially not by janitors. But exhaustion doesn't recognize rank. As Daniel bent to gather a stack of empty glasses near her chair, Admiral Harlow's head tipped sideways. Before he could step away, she leaned, completely unaware, and rested against his shoulder. Time seemed to freeze. A nearby lieutenant gasped softly. 2 commanders standing by the exit turned in disbelief. The most powerful naval officer in the room was asleep, on the shoulder of a maintenance worker. Daniel stiffened at first, terrified of doing something wrong. But when he felt the steady rhythm of her breathing, something in him softened. He remembered Sophia falling asleep against him on the couch after a long day. Carefully, so carefully, he stayed still. Minutes passed. No one dared move. Eventually, Admiral Harlow stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, and reality set in. She straightened immediately, composure snapping back into place. For a brief second, embarrassment flickered across her face as she realized where she'd been resting. The room braced for reprimand. Instead, she looked at Daniel, really looked at him. "You didn't move," she said quietly. "No, ma'am," he replied. "You looked like you needed the rest." A faint smile touched her lips. "I suppose I did." The officers nearby pretended not to stare, but their curiosity was impossible to hide. Admirals weren't known for vulnerability. And they certainly weren't known for gratitude toward janitorial staff. "What's your name?" she asked. "Daniel Reyes, ma'am." "Mr. Reyes," she said, rising to her full height. "How long have you worked here?" 3 years. She studied him for a moment longer. His posture was straight, his tone steady. There was something about him, something familiar. Not subservience, not fear, just quiet strength.